Hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineinmypocket.com, and today I have this marshmallow paste from Maker Forte. It's brand new and I want to show you 3 ways to use it. Now this is heat activated expanding medium and it is so interesting. This one's called Snow Flurries White, and this is a brand new set from Maker Forte and Jess Francisco. I ended up not using this one in this actual video, but I will be using it soon. But I am going to be using this stencil that has snowflakes on it. This is from scrapbook.com and it is a favorite of mine. So to start off, I've got some light blue paper and I'm just going to ink around the edges using some Distress Oxide inks. I'm using my favorite domed blending tools here, and I'm just going to add the lightest blue, and then I'm going to go in with a darker blue, and I'm just holding this in the middle where there is no ink so that I don't get any on my fingers, or hopefully I don't. So here's where I go in with the darker ink, and then I'm just going to keep blending that back and forth until it comes out a really nice gradient. So I cleaned that ink off my surface, and now I'm going to add this stencil to the paper. Just going to use some purple tape on the back to keep that in place. And then I'll take the marshmallow paste and go ahead and slather it on. Now you don't need a lot of this marshmallow paste. You can put on a very thin layer. I'm going to use what's in the lid here and then try to use that up so that it's not extra. I don't want to waste any of this product. It kind of looks like whipped frosting. It's very, very light, very interesting medium here. And so I'm putting it on a little bit thick because I wanted to get some really puffy snowflakes. But you really don't need to put this much on. In fact, I'll show you why I don't recommend it in just a minute, or actually why it's better to have a thinner amount. You can have a thicker amount too, and I think it worked out really great on this snowflake. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean this off here, but I lost the footage where I went ahead and expanded it with the heat tool, but I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But look at how much this puffs up. So this is just gorgeous. So this is the first way to use the marshmallow paste, and that's to use it with stencils. And I'm going to show you now with this second stencil exactly what it looks like when it puffs up, so that you can see that. I'm actually going to try a few stencils at the same time. So this is the Maker Forte stencil, and this is the, it looks kind of like candy cane stripes. It's an Alex Syberia design, and I love it. So I've just taped this on, and I'll go ahead and get this one ready as well. I did ink up around the edges of this red paper with some black soot Distress Oxide. And now I'm going to go in and I'm using a thick layer on this one again too. I'm going to show you why on this one. But this is very easy to put on. It's so light. It's very soft, if I can say that. It's a softer medium. So, and just so interesting. Like I say, it feels kind of like whipped frosting, like the kind you get in a can. It's that consistency. Really, really light. So I'm going to go clean this stencil up as well, and I'm just going to do a couple at the same time here. So for this one, I'm using some green paper, and then I'm going to, I believe it's the British ricing green paper. And then I added some different colors of red and green stripes, just using some liquid adhesive, and now I'm going to use this stencil from Maker Forte. It's another really awesome stencil, and I'm not sure the name of it, but I'll have everything linked below. So this one is the Stormy metallic paper, and I'm going to use another scrapbook.com stencil for this one. And this red one was getting dry, and so you can wait for it to dry, and you can also heat set it when it is still wet. So that is a really neat thing about this medium, is it works both ways. This one was almost dry and it's still working just fine. In fact, it's puffing up quite a bit. I'll bring this a little closer in just a minute to show you, but it's puffing up quite a bit and it's giving me some extra snow flurries here, which is kind of fun. So look at that. Look how puffy it is. I'm going to scrape some of those snow flurries off the edge, some of the excess that's here, and look at this fun snow that it's creating. I'm going to save this for a future card, and that'll be my third way of using this marshmallow paste. So anytime you have a little extra, you can keep that for a shaker card. That's going to be our third way here. I'll show you in just a minute. So I'm just knocking back some of that extra fluff, and it does create this amazing snow. It is so festive and so fun, and I still have quite a bit of texture on this candy cane card here. Look at that. It's so fun to play with. So I'm going to set this aside, and we'll get back to that in just a minute, but first I wanted to show you how it looks with these stencils. So depending on how much you use and how long you hold your heat tool to the paper, that's how much fluff you're going to get. So I found that I like to heat it just the bare minimum amount so that it just barely puffed up, because anything more than that I was getting a little bit too fluffy. But look at that, you still get a really great look. That looks like a sweater to me. And this one too, this one reminded me of a sweater. I will turn all of these into cards in just a minute as well, so you can see how they come together and how they work with cards. This video, in fact, is just a little bit longer because I think I'm making a total of 6 cards today. There you go, look at that fuzzy sweater. It is so fun and cozy. Doesn't that look cozy, like you want to hug? I just want to hug it. So I'm going to clean that up, and here's a look at all our stencil backgrounds for the first way to use this marshmallow paste. There's a little bit extra on this one, so I'm going to set that aside too. And now I'm going to show you our second way to use marshmallow paste. I have here this cookie stamp from Syberia. It's called Christmas Cookies. And I'm just going to stamp a few of these off onto some Nina Desert Storm paper, because then I'm not going to have to color these cookies. They're already going to look like baked cookies. And then I have this stylus that has a little ball tip on the end, and that's what I'm going to use in just a minute. But then I thought, oh, this right here, this palette knife, it has kind of a triangle at the end there. And I thought it would be so great for frosting these cookies because it's such a small end. And it did work out really great. So all I'm doing is taking a little bit of that paste, not too much, and I'm going to frost on where I think these cookies have some frosting. And then we'll puff that up to make it more 3D dimensional. Really, really awesome. And now I'm going to use this stylus here to add just the smallest amount of the marshmallow paste to this little guy. And I also used it on the one on the bottom there, the snowflake. So I'm just going to skip right ahead so you can see what this looks like as I heat this up. So watch as this puffs right up. It's so much fun. If you've ever used the liquid snow or the liquid applique, this puffs up so much more, and it's whiter in color, whiter. It's more white. So that's why I really loved it. So here's some cards I put together. I'm using this set here. This is my favorite holiday sentiment set from Maker Forte. I use the Warm and Cozy on this mug and the Let It Snow on the top and the bottom. And then for this one, I die cut some reindeer, and now I'm using the Merry Christmas from the same stamp set, the sentiment stamp set. I'm going to glue it onto some British Racing Green paper so that we've got the red and the green on this one. See, there's the Merry Christmas that I used there. And now we're going to adhere this to the card. So I didn't know if the liquid adhesive was going to work to stick it down to the marshmallow paste. So what I did was I added extra liquid adhesive, more than I thought that I needed. And then when I glued it down, I added some acrylic blocks so that it would keep it straight to the card. And that worked out well, but I did set it aside to dry for a while with those acrylic blocks on. This Let It Snow sentiment was perfect for my snowflake card. I just simply heat embossed it in silver on black paper, and now I'm going to add some liquid adhesive and a little bit of foam dots there where there weren't any snowflakes, and just attach that quite simply to make a stunning card. The fun thing about this marshmallow paste is you really don't have to do a lot to make an eye-popping card, because this has so much texture and so much thickness to it. For this fuzzy sweater card, I just added some snowflakes in white and vellum, and I glued that right down. And then I used the same stamp set for the sentiment Hello Winter, stamped that out in green, and just added that right to the front. Another easy, simple card. Oops, I almost lost that one there. For the one that I did the cookies and I frosted them, I'm just making a background using Distress ink. I'm blending on some lighter blue Distress ink, and now I'm going around with some darker blue Distress ink. This is the Slimline Stencil from Maker Forte. It is definitely also a favorite of mine. I love Slimline stencils. I went ahead and backed that on some roller skate red paper, and now I'm going to add all of those cookies. You can see I added a little bit of color with some colored pencils, some red, a little bit of green here and there. And I'm just going to add that with some liquid adhesive. I'm using the sub sentiment from the Christmas cookies stamp set and the Happy Holidays from my favorite sentiment stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that on using the Misty Happy Holidays. And I'll stamp that a couple of times so that it pops out from the background there. There we go. And now to add the cookies, very simply glued all of those on. It had plenty of dimension because of the layers and the marshmallow paste. And I'll just add a few details here using some Nouveau drops, some yellow for the windows. I have no idea why I used yellow on his eyes, but I did. And a little bit of festive Christmas berry red for some of the cookies and a few of the details. Very simple and easy to add. And there is a Slimline card with Christmas cookies that are frosted. So festive. So for the third and final way, I'm going to show you how to use those snowflakes that we got making a shaker card. And when I stamped this stamp set, I accidentally got some ink in the middle of it and stamped it down, but that's okay because I'm cutting out the middle anyway using a circle die. So that was lucky for me, but just be careful when you stamp that down that you don't get ink in the middle. This is another new stamp set from Jess Francisco, and this one is called Build Your Own Christmas. So I stamped that circle that had the pine boughs on it, and now I'm inking on some Distress Oxide. I heat set that in clear, so now I can wipe away any excess ink on there, which is very awesome when you're making a shaker card. And now I have some acetate. I just cut it to be just larger than that circle. And I'm going to add a little bit of ink splatters so it looks like snow on the front. Just taking some white paint and splattering that on. You can see I've already stamped on the word joy from that same stamp set. That's the Jess Francisco set. And I will go ahead and add that paint splatter. By the way, the acetate is not adhered yet. I thought I'd better do this before I added that acetate. You don't want to get snow all over the front of your acetate. Once those paint splatters dried, I turned over the panel and I added some strong double-sided adhesive here. This is score tape, so that I could add that acetate piece. Just adding it all around the circle. I'll remove the backer here and then just add that acetate piece there so we have now a window for our shaker. You might notice I did add a little bit of blue ink to the card base there behind the window. And now I'm adding some foam tape all around that circle so that we have a spot for the snow to be. I used a thicker foam tape that I had in my stash that I found when I moved. And so it would give a little more room for these snow flurries to shake around. And now I'll just remove the backer from that foam tape, add it to the front of the card, and here is a simple shaker using those extra snow flurries. So much fun. I decided to add some extra pine boughs and I just had some die cuts laying around. And then I added also a star to the center of that just to give it a little more dimension. And there is our shaker card. So easy and fun. See how those snow flurries just kind of shake around. I think I would have, in the future, I'd probably add some extra little bits in there to help it shake more and some glitter. Here's a look at all the cards we made. There's our Slimline. Here is our Snowflake one. That might be my favorite from these. Here's our warm and cozy sweater with some hot cocoa. This is our other sweater that says Hello Winter. And then we've got our candy cane reindeer card that says Merry Christmas. So there you go, 6 cards, 3 ways to use marshmallow paste. I hope you enjoyed this process today, seeing all of these cards and all the ways you can use it. I know there will be questions. If you have any questions, then leave them in the comments below. I really appreciate you stopping by today. I love all the comments, and please be sure to give me a thumbs up also if you enjoyed this video. It really does help a lot with YouTube. Again, I want to say thank you for stopping by, and I'll be back real soon with some more card inspiration and some more fun things to share. So be sure you subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.